Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. On today's episode of me talking about stuff and things, I'm going to be going over A Thief in the Night. Before I continue, there are some links in the description below. Please check those out if you have not already. I would highly recommend the Castaways survey, and you can vote on whichever survivalist you would like to see come back for a Castaways. It does require a Google sign-in, but feel free to share and advocate for who you want to be on the challenge. I'll share the results eventually on the True Fans page periodically, and then I'll close the survey eventually. But going back to the episode, we start out with the bottom four getting their elimination challenge. They need to start a fire and guide a fire down a grass line to light a signal fire. The first placing man and woman stay and the other goes home. They add grass to gaps in the grass line and at the bottom of the signal fire. They use their blades to make a fire. Trish gets her fire first. Matt talks about pushing through the pain in his hand and gets his fire going. Trent is not far behind with his fire. Matt uses his pelt to get his fire going faster and Trent follows suit. Trish uses her blade to make sure the fire goes along the grass line. Kayla C then gets her fire. They almost fight the wind going in the wrong direction. Trent's fire slows down a little at the gap, but he's ahead still. It is neck and neck between Matt and Trent. It is a photo finish between the two, and Matt wins by a second. They even have to do slow-mo, and I think it would be interesting if the rule said whoever grabs the scroll after lighting the signal fire first will automatically win, because once Matt's signal fire goes up, he immediately grabs the scroll. Matt is the winner, and Trent is unfortunately eliminated. Trish and Kayla C are still going with their fires. Trish eventually does win and Kayla C goes home. People are saying Trish cheated because she moved a chunk of grass past the grass line with her knife. And it almost looked like she set the tips of some blades of grass on fire and then shifts it over. And there's other times where it seems like she's lifting the grass up completely off the ground. But I think production would have stepped in had she lifted up the grass chunk and moved it further down the line than what was allowed, but I don't know. And people think that she cheated. It's all alleged. I don't think so. But Trish wins and Kayla C unfortunately goes home. And, production could have been like, hey, Trish, you can't move a giant clump forward, and she had to wait for the fire to catch up, and she still probably won, but I don't think she cheated, and I don't think production helped her cheat at all. Matt goes to Max and Laura's camp, and Trish goes to Suzanne and Jamie's camp. Trish is not a fan of Suzanne, and they butt heads a little bit. Suzanne didn't know that Trish was merging with her and Jamie, and she thought that Trish was trying to gather intel, and so unfortunately their partnership goes off on a rocky start, which is unfortunate. And Matt, Laura, and Max are a dream team. Suzanne does not trust Trish, and Suzanne is telling Jamie, hey, don't trust Trish because she's sneaky just like Patrick. Night 2, and Darren is snoring. The nights are cold. Day 3, and Kai and Kayla H are wanting to make their camp more comfortable so that they could sleep better. Darren is able to get sleep, so that's good for him. Laura goes for a hunt, and Matt is excited to have great partners. Matt gets his hand checked and it seems to be doing okay. Patrick is on the hunt to steal some fishing lines. Jamie and Suzanne go bait hunting so they can go fishing. Jamie hears Patrick and know he wants to steal the lines because Jamie is talking to the handheld camera and he was saying, oh, I can hear Patrick sneaking around, so I'm going to be a little bit quiet. A few survivalists meet up and Matt calls Patrick a weasel and doesn't trust him. Jermaine is in the water and Patrick is on land to see if he can get Jamie's line. Patrick eventually does end up stealing Jamie's line after a tense standoff. Trish tries to warn Jamie not to let Patrick get in his head because Jamie's feeling a little down, and so he decides to make shoes to get his mind off the fact that some of his lines were stolen. Matt is not pleased with the sabotage, nor is Max. Patrick later gets a fish. Day 4, and a scroll appears. It's time to try and earn some caches. There are 3 caches, and the survivalists must complete a challenge to get them. The 4 camps must go to one spot to see the map to see where the caches are, and there is rope, a hide from a scrubber bowl, and bows and arrows. And the groups can stay together or split up and are given time to strategize. Each group sends someone to go for the rope. For the rope, they need to make a hook and a cordage rope to fit through a hole, and they must use their hook and their cordage to hook the rope and pull it up through the hole. And the groups that go over to try to get the rope are Laura and Matt, then Suzanne and Trish, Darren and Kayla H, and then Patrick is by himself from his group, and they're going for the rope. Patrick is the first to try and fish the rope, but his cordage is too thin and his hook falls off. Max travels alone to the bow and arrows cache. The bow and arrows are in an orb weaver nest, and the survivalists must make a 5-rung ladder that can hold 200 pounds and make a torch to smoke out the spiders and then burn the webbing away so that the bow and arrows fall down. And then Cheeny and Jermaine, Jamie and Kai are tasked with making a water transportation device to carry water and overfill a pot. And they first must cover themselves in scrubbable manure to protect themselves from the sun. And so Jamie decides to help his campmates to try to get the rope because Jermaine and Cheeny have a method using their pelts to carry water. Jamie's pelt has a hole in it, so he's not really able to hold water in it. And Kai uses some paper bark, but unfortunately with the 2 versus 1, Jermaine and Cheeny are in the lead, and so Jamie decides to go help his campmates try to get the rope. Matt and Laura are the second group to go fishing for the rope after Patrick tries and fails, and they successfully get the rope. And then Jermaine and Cheeny get the hide after overflowing their pot. And Kai may have overexerted herself, which is not great because she had major surgery 5 weeks ago. And then everyone converges to the bow and arrows cache challenge. And Trish, Jamie, and Suzanne, it's a little bit worrisome for them because they're not really able to communicate. And then Jermaine is a little bit MIA from the group. He may have decided to take his time. And Cheeny was saying how he was right behind her, but it takes him a little bit to get there. Max has a good head start with his ladder. Darren, Kai, and Kayla H get their ladder ready quickly. Laura is the first to make a fire. Matt, Max, and Laura have knowledge and strategy for days, so they are the A-team or the dream team. They are the first group to get their ladder and torch ready, and Jamie is having a hard time communicating due to his accent, and he's trying to ask questions and see what's going on, but Trish and Suzanne aren't really able to understand him in the moment. So it's really unfortunate for him because he was riding on such a high after the first challenge, and now there's some butting heads with his teammates. They're not able to understand him, and spoiler alert, his team wasn't able to get any of the caches. And then Laura starts climbing the ladder and uses the torch. They successfully get the bow and arrows. Matt, Max, and Laura get the rope and the bow and arrows, while Jermaine, Cheeny, and Patrick get the hide. Kai notices some swelling near the site of her operation. It is cold at night, and Kai's stomach is swelling after she overdid it during the cache challenge, and a medic is called. She could have an infection. Day 5, Kai is told to rest and hydrate. Matt goes hunting and learned some helpful info and decides to go hunting earlier for the best chances of getting big game. Jermaine doesn't think Matt, Laura, and Max are the A-team. Jermaine wants to trade with them, but Max, Matt, and Laura don't like the idea of eating fish from a stolen asset. Jermaine and Cheeny go fishing and they get some fish. Jamie, Trish, and Suzanne find the fishing spot and goes fishing, but Jermaine does a misdirect to try to get them away from the good fishing spot. But according to social media, at least a comment Jamie made on social media, they do seem to get fish, but unfortunately the edit does not show them getting fish. But I'm going to assume that Suzanne, Trish, and Jamie do get some fish. So even though Jamie lost at least one line, he still has a few more for his group to use. Kai's condition doesn't improve that night and medics are called. They decide to run some tests to see if she can continue, and she goes to the medical tent for tests and goes back to camp to wait for the results. And basically, if she does test positive for infection, she will be med-tapped from the challenge because they aren't going to be able to really treat the infection in the field, and she would have to go to a hospital. And day 6, all teams get a scroll. They are told to go to the river for more information. After a brief delay, only Darren and Kayla H show up. It is revealed Kai was medically evacuated. Unfortunately, she did test positive for infection and had to be treated at a hospital. Kai ends up making a full recovery, and she made a video talking about how she had a hysterectomy because there were 3 growths in her abdomen, and 2 were the size of small oranges, and 1 was the size of a small plum, and one of them was going through the uterine wall, I believe, and so she had to have a hysterectomy, and she was medically cleared, but it ended up taking her 6 months to fully heal. So it was very unfortunate that she had to be medically tapped from the challenge. I know she was so close last season and she had to leave so early this one. So it was very sad to see, but thankfully she did make a full recovery, and hopefully she can be back on a future season because she is an incredibly talented survivalist. And for the challenge that will lead to a group elimination challenge, the groups must make a baited 3-stick snare trap, and the team that finishes last will be up for elimination. And then the episode ends. After giving the current elimination order and the updated PSRs, I'm going to say who I think the bottom team will be. But for final placements, for 14th and 13th place, we have Trent and Kayla C. And unfortunately for 12th place, we have Kai. We only get 3 updated PSRs. And we have Laura going from a 9.7 to a 9.8 because of her helping get the assets. We have Jermaine going from a 7.5 to a 7.8 because of his help getting the hide and wanting to try to make a move to improve his position in the challenge. And then Suzanne's goes from a 7.9 to a 7.7 because she's having difficulty with teammates and her group didn't get any assets. Future Gabe here, and Discovery posted the updated PSRs the day after I recorded the initial voiceover, so here they are. And Suzanne, unfortunately, is at the bottom of the pack, while Laura is leading the pack with a 9.8. Max and Matt's PSRs have also increased, and Patrick is also gaining a little bit with his 9.1 PSR. Cheeny has gone from a 7.7 to an 8.0. Jamie is almost at an 8.0, but we shall see how these PSRs come into play with the next elimination challenge. I am very worried about Suzanne, but we shall see. And finally, I think that the group that is going to, spoilers, I think the group that's going to get last place will be Trish, Suzanne, and Jamie, with Suzanne going home, unfortunately, just based off of what I've seen in the commercials. And with that, that is the end of the episode. Thank you so much for listening. Please like, comment nice things, and subscribe. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.